I think everyone has your coffee and your tea. So, hi, I'm Lea. So I'm the strategy and business manager in the Department of Marketing at FABERNOVEL. So, I've been working in the agency industry for almost 5 years, and then most of my clients are from beauty, fashion, and luxury industries. So my key expertise is around, branding and the integrated campaign strategies. So very, very happy to have everyone with us today, because I know that we have a multidisciplinary audiences here. Not everyone are from marketing backgrounds, but this is even better because I think we can make this sharing session more like a platform for everyone to exchange openly our understanding on the market. And I would also personally love to take this opportunity to invite you to exchange your fresh perspectives and your insights to complement to our understanding on this CHINAFICATION topic. Yes, so, right, and most importantly, I hope everyone can have a very fabulous Friday morning with us today. So let's start. Because we are probably all know that beauty has enjoying a reputation as a recession-proof category, but many brands are preparing for some turbulence. So with the impact of post-pandemic, so the reason why we craft this CHINAFICATION playbook is really to provide a strategic framework and toolkit for the niche Western brands to CHINAFICATE in the local market and to win the sophisticated Chinese consumers. So actually, we start with the study on the C beauties to decipher their winning formulas and how these powerful homegrown brands, win the cult-like followings through the cultural relevancy. So how they build their direct-to-community strategy with the culture and the social relevancies. Yes, so in this chapter, we have selected 8 cases from skincare, makeup, and fragrance industries to understand or to further elaborate their CHINAFICATION strategies. And then we can get the 5 localization recipes around culture, communication, collaboration, community, and commerce. So in order not to lost you in the first 10 minutes, so actually handpicked 5 cases to further elaborate their CHINAFICATION in terms of how they launch their new products, how they craft their communication approaches, and how they orchestrate their digital experiences to connect with their young generations, the young generation of consumers. So the first case is Unisking, which is one of my favorite sea beauty brand. So despite it's a very, very young brand, it has a very, very clear brand positioning in the anti-aging market, where it's normally dominated by multinational players like Filago and SkinCeuticals. And in this case study, we have captured its new product launch in partnership with China Aerospace Science and Cultural Innovation, which makes a very interesting case in terms of how this brand ride on the rising China proud to drop its new products or to repackage its signature products. Yeah, so, and also when I was developing this case, I also bought these products. And when I received the products, I really enjoyed the unboxing experiences, because I think it really subverts my misconception of locality of sea beauty, which I think, in my opinion, could be another secret recipe for the brands to loyalize your Chinese, your sophisticated Chinese consumers. And next case is Pitchon. I think probably everyone would have a very different interpretation about this case. And in my opinion, what makes interesting to share with everyone today is the strong contrast between the tradition versus the innovation. Because we know that Pitchon is the first domestic skincare brands in China back in 20s. And as a brand that is strongly steeped in the traditional cultural legacy, it has really striving to rejuvenate its brand perception in connection with the rising consumer trends. So here they have made a bold move for this brand. Actually, for this brand, I think it's a very bold move to collaborate with virtual idol Ling, who is actually the first AI-based virtual influencers that it was created back in May 2020. So this bold initiative has really well reflected its brand perception as a beauty of the East that is powered by science and technology. And on top of that, because we know that with the boom of live streaming and with the NFT and the metaverse, I think it's really the virtual idols could be the really next frontier for the brands to really connect with the next gen of consumers for the community brand building. Next case is Perfect Diary, which is a unicorn company, a category disruptor, and also a headline-making brand. So actually, we have co-published a keynote with one of our partners called Pitchon, so who is the agency to develop a very solid private traffic and KOC strategy for Perfect Diary. So if you're interested, we can actually plan another dedicated session to discuss about the topic. But back to the case, I think for Perfect Diary, in the industry, this brand has really created a miracle of growth, especially through a hyper-fast new product drops as a CP2 brand. They have a lot of IP collaborations in the playground of fashion, cultural, and gaming. For example, they have the IP partnership with Met Museum, National Graphics, Cosmo, and also in this case, it's King of Glory. So this creative IP collaboration has given a unique edge to this brand to really connect with the young consumers who are very voracious about novelty. And also from all the different cases, it has the IP collaboration has proven to be the must-have elements for the brands to localize their products or to localize the communication to build the cultural relevancy and inclusivity to connect with the next gen of consumers. And the next one is the fragrance, the Beast. So what makes this case share-worthy is its adoption of its the emerging consumer trends around the outdoor sports activities, from skiing all the way to camping. So, because when we're talking about community building, we're not only look at the dimension of demographics only, but also the psychographics, what's their lifestyles, what their preferences, what's their behaviors. So this actually is a perfect example how this brand actually has read on the consumer behaviors to launch its new products. And on top of that, on another note, I think this, by understanding your consumer trends or your consumer psychographics, I think it also provides some partnership opportunities for brands to collaborate on a platform level. For example, in this case, so in May this year, actually Red has launched a dedicated brand zone targeting the campaign season. They actually rally around all different brands from different industries to have craft dedicated content around their campaign products to sell their products. I think it's another way for brands how to have this creative approach to align the product communication with the busy consumer trends. And the last one is the Scent Library, which is another prominent homegrown perfume, which is acquired by Push, back in 2021. So it's Push Group is a Spanish perfume and beauty powerhouse. So we have been working with this group on different brands and on different levels of projects. So we know is that when we talk about perfume, it's very personal, and the core marketing strategies or tactics of perfume brands is really to build the emotional storytelling in order to deliver a sensational experience. And here, actually, you can have another approach, which is to have a creative twist by writing on these social hot topics to communicate your products. So here in this case study, we have identified how this brand capitalized on one of the hot topics, which called MBTI, which is arguably one of the most trendy hot topics since May this year. among the young Chinese citizens. So this is how the brand leverages hot topics to have different recommendations based on the of their perfume brands, based on the different personalities and different personas. So this is another way, because on social media every day we have all the different content pump out. So in order to really rev up the engagement, to really have a real social traction, it has become more strategic than ever for brands to have a close eye on the hot topics and to localize your content that is in tune with the trendy topics that is relevant to the Chinese consumers. Yeah. And then, so in general, we realize that C beauty brands tend to be very trend driven. That's why how they carve out a cult followings for themselves in a very stiff competition with the international players. So in these key takeaways, we have consolidated all the 5 localization recipes around the 5 C's: culture, content, collaboration, community, commerce. So how brands can Chinaficate their products, their content, their channels, and their experiences. Which in other words, I think these 4 C's or these 5 pillars can really help you to identify or prioritize your marketing agenda and to crystallize your new product launch strategies, your channel strategies, your content strategies, your influencer strategies, and your new retail strategies, which we will actually further elaborate in the next chapter within the localization framework. Yes, so I think, well, for the last chapter, we are very much focused on the cases. And so in this chapter, let's twist a little bit of approach, but to really use our left brain to focus on the series, which I think is most, the essence for, I think that I believe would be more relevant or useful to everyone around the table. So in this chapter, we actually identify 5 dimensions within the localization framework: brand DNA, products, communication, channel, and experiences. And then it allows us to identify the 3 levels of localization, from translation to adaptation and all the way to creation. And on top of that, we actually did a fun exercises by analyzing 8 brands from 4 beauty categories, from skincare, makeup, fragrance, all the way to hair care, to understand their Chinafication strategies, how they become, adapt themselves or involve themselves to be relevant to the Chinese consumers, cultures, and their channels. So here, let's look at the localization framework in terms of what can be localized and how much can be localized. So let's look at each pillars one by one. So the first pillar is brand DNA. So you can actually localize your Chinese brand name or a product name based on your global name. So I can give you an example here. It's very challenging for Chinese consumers, even the most educated Chinese consumers, to type or search Christina Louboutin on social media. But when you have a Chinese nickname called a little carrot, like Luo Buding, right, which is another nickname that was close to the pronunciation of its English name, it's much, much typer friendly or search friendly. And it's the same logic goes to the product nickname, especially for skincare brands. So usually it's not only easier for people to memorize or to type on social media, but also a good tactic for the brands to highlight the efficacy through the name and start to build the user affinity around your products. And second is a product, which is quite self-explanatory. So there are different levels of localization in this pillar based on your own business and marketing agenda. So here, I can give you 2 examples. For adaptation, you can localize the packaging, targeting the big gifting moments in China, such as 520, Chinese Valentine's Day, or Chinese New Year from the get-go. And on the creation level, you can really launch a China-specific product that is dedicated to the local market through the partnership with other brands or with other artists or with influencers, or even with the gaming or esports platforms like what Perfect Diary was doing. And the third channel, the third pillar is channel, which is like one of the easiest elements for almost all the brands to localize in the first place. Because like in China, social media and e-commerce are the must-have platforms to start to build your digital presence. And especially we know like Chinese consumers are very channel agnostic compared to their Westerner counterparts. So it's becoming imperative for brands to develop or activate omni-channel strategies in order to capture, to engage and to convert your end consumers. And of course, based on the different, I think, marketing or business agenda, a lot of brands will have a phased approach when they enter the China markets in terms of what kind of channels they will activate first in a more progressional models. And the fourth pillar is communication, so which is actually one of the pillars that requires the most agile mindset. Because you really need to localize your content or your communication approaches to be relevant, for example, to the cultural nuance, to the consumer trends, to the hot topics, and also to the platform natures. So this, like we have explained with the example of Perfect Diary, I think with the Beast fragrance and also the Scent library. And the last pillar is experience, I think, which is probably the pillar that is most costly, but also arguably the most impactful pillar for brands to invest and to localize. Because we know like beauty is becoming more and more 3D. So it starts from phygital now to to digital and now to virtual, right? With the buzzy trends, with the metaverse, with the NFT, with the virtual KOLs, like a really an entertaining and fluid experience will be the future of shopping to help you to capture the consumer of tomorrow. Yeah. So based on that, actually we have selected 8 cult favorite niche brands. And in this chart, we actually have adopted the localization framework for us to analyze their localization maturity and also their key strategy focus. So, and then we have a very granular cases for each brands to dive into their route to China roadmap, their key marketing milestones, and also their key brand strategies. But just to conclude here, I think from this chart, what we notice is for all these brands, and there are 4 tactics that they are all widely adopted in these industries, which are one is the product storytelling, second is the influencer marketing, second is the auteur experience, and last is the brand crossover. You can work with different through the IP collaboration. Yeah, so I think I will really stop here because I think for the rest it's really some cases, but I don't want to really bore everyone. But I think it's good to really opportunity for everyone to start to share your understanding or your questions about the industries, or if you have some particular brands that you are very interested from your everyday life that you want to share a couple of ideas through everyone around table. I think that's the time. Also, if Rachel, you have something to compliment, feel free to share. Yes.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you so much.